Today I'm helping with one of the biggest struggles so far for a lot of people in BF6, just seeing the enemy. And I've been doing alright personally, so let's fix your problem with 10 solid tips so you can get easier kills. Use EA supporter creator code GetGoodGuy when purchasing EA products. Tip 1. Boost icon colors. So this tip is for when the enemy is spotted, but we'll also be doing ones for when they aren't spotted later on. So go into your settings and crank up those icon colors. The default colors don't pop as much as they can do. By maxing out the saturation, you can make the indicators really pop on your screen, meaning you have the best possible chance of your eyes picking out the enemies as quickly as possible. The less uncertainty you have, the more clinical you can be. Plus, it can help you to actually track the target better as well. As a bonus point here, I also set my crosshair color to green, so there's a huge contrast between the enemy indicators and my crosshair, making everything really stand out. Or if you're colorblind, you can simply change all your colors to what you need. Keep in mind, I'm using this tip and others in this list in a content creator lobby in the footage you're watching before the game is publicly available. So if it worked in this really difficult situation, it absolutely can help in a normal lobby. Now, if you think that's a good start, it would be genuinely great if you do me a solid and hit the subscribe button to help me to finally get to 100k subs. Thank you very much. Tip 2. Increase icon size. Yep, it's not just the icon color you can change, but the size as well. So in the icon section of the settings, I've left everything at default except for the enemy icons. So whilst other icons are set to 100, my enemy icons are currently set to 120. So now when an enemy is marked, there's a big super red icon for your eyes to be attracted to. Once again, reducing the time it can take for your eyes to pick out an enemy on screen and gives you something to focus on when you're in the gunfight. If this still isn't enough, you can also try reducing some icon sizes for other things, if having less clutter on the screen helps you to focus on looking for your enemy movement. All worth a go if you're really struggling. But what about if you're struggling to see the enemies at all, before they're even spotted? Well, tip 3 is another settings one you can do before we get into the gameplay stuff. Have a play around with your brightness setting. This doesn't automatically mean turn it up, by the way. You may want it up if things just aren't popping enough for you, but if you're actually finding there's a lot of glare, everything's a bit washed out and such, you can try lowering it. Remember, it's also being affected by whatever your TV or monitor settings are as well. So do some testing to see what works, and maybe even adjust your brightness and contrast on your TV or monitor if you can't get the game to look right via the in-game brightness scale. Aside from this, you can also try turning off the filters in games such as film grain, chromatic aberration, motion blur, etc. And if this still isn't working out, you could try adjusting the sharpness, which is also in the BF6 settings menu. Tip 4 is our final settings-based one, and it's a very quick one. Make sure you have the SOVIS or SOVIS filter turned on. This is the soldier visibility filter. This filter is built into the game for exactly this reason. It boosts clarity and sharpens visuals, helping you to separate enemies from the background. If you've not got this on, you're leaving free visibility on the table. So, say you've done your settings and turned it off because you didn't know what it was, you go and get it back on. And if you need more help with settings, I've got a full settings guide for controller players. Feel free to watch it after this, I'll link to it in the description. Tip 5. Consider a magnified scope. Sometimes iron sights and 1x optics just don't cut it. If you're playing mid to long range, consider slapping on a 2x or 3x or more magnified scope. It'll let you check ridge lines, windows, all that sort of stuff more clearly. The in thing is, especially with a lot of content creators, is to run a low magnification sight or iron sights and then sprint around everywhere gunning everyone up close. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to, and especially if it's holding you back from simply seeing the enemies. It's about what works best for you as an individual. I regularly put magnified scopes on my SMGs even, and I still can test close range fights just fine. So give it a try if you're struggling. Feel free to let me know how it goes. And tip 6 leads directly on from this. Scope out the areas. Whether you're using a high magnification sight or not, if you're having a really hard time seeing the enemy, scope the areas out. Literally aim in and look ahead of you sometimes. You'd be surprised what you notice that you otherwise wouldn't. Actively scan. Aim in at, again, tree lines, doorways, windows, all that sort of stuff. This is how you pre-clear an area before actually pushing in. Think of it as just a quick sweep before you then go about your business. Now for a bonus, if you want my weapon build guide cheat sheets without constantly revisiting videos, they're all going to go up on my Patreon for just $5 a month if you fancy it. There's no pressure, but it also will help me to simply keep making this content for the long term. Link in the description. Thanks to anyone that signs up. You're my hero. Now tip 7, use the spot spot button. This is free intelligence, people. Even if you don't land a kill, spotting lights up enemies for your whole squad. It also paints them with that nice big marker above their head, as we talked about earlier. So even if you lose track visually of them, you've still got something to aim at, even on the minimap. What was the point of doing those settings earlier for your markers if we aren't going to fully utilize them anyway, right? Obviously, if you need to pull the trigger straight away, then do so, but if you can, a quick spot can work wonders, and you can even use it to actively check if someone is there if you aren't sure. So if there's a figure in the distance and you just don't know if it's an enemy, hit the spot button on it, and when it lights up red, you'll be glad you did it. Tip number 8, consider the recon class. Recon players get better spotting tools, so use them if you need to. Remember, if you're playing an open weapons playlist, you can throw any primary weapon onto the recon class anyway. Regardless of what you do or don't play, the gadgets in recon aren't just for your squad. They make the whole battlefield clearer. Drones and sensors, but also, and arguably more importantly here, simply enhance spotting capabilities from using recon, as you automatically spot enemies for you and your team when you aim down sights at them, and with the sniper training path specifically, you spot enemies you deal damage to, and you have enhanced auto spotting range with 33% increased distance and 10% wider angle of detection from weapon crosshair. Spotting is also quicker and lasts 3 seconds longer. Absolutely worth considering if having enemies spotted is a key focus for you, or you've just had a day where you're getting blasted from places you can't see people and you're just done with it. But on to tip 9, slow down your play. Here's a big one. Stop sprinting everywhere like a maniac. When you slow down, you see more. You catch subtle movements in bushes or rooftops, and you're less likely to be surprised. Aggression is good, but if you're constantly running, you're constantly taking away some of your capability to see what's going on around you. This somewhat ties in with our tip earlier about scoping out areas, but you can simply use this tactic consistently if you need to. Slowing down allows you to be the player seeing enemies charging around and making noise. This isn't camping, it's just playing more slowly and having more patience. Again, this is not camping, don't just sit in a corner for 20 minutes. And you can always pick up your play speed when you get more comfortable or if the situation calls for it. And tip 10, thermal scopes. I don't have any unlocked yet as it's far too early, but they are in the game, I just can't show you gameplay of it. If you're really struggling, after all the other tips, maybe give a thermal scope a go. Yes, it's situational and can be kind of clunky, but when it works, it basically gives you a glowing figure to shoot at. And that's 10 core techniques that'll make it easier for you to see enemies in Battlefield 6. I also have a 50 tips video for general play available if you fancy that video next. Remember to check for me if you've subscribed and if you've hit the like button before you go so you can get loads more videos like this from me and get better at the game and enjoy it more. And thanks to anyone that signed up for the Patreon in the description. YouTube is now suggesting another video from me that it thinks you'll like. I'll see you over there.